am here with Thomas Kohr, Head of Aviation Marketing at Berlin Brandenburg Airport. Thank you so much, Thomas, for joining me. So my first question to you is, would you mind telling the audience a bit about yourself and what your role means for the airport?
Yeah, so I am the Head of Aviation Marketing, as you said. My job is, so I have several teams. One is a business development, key account management team. I have a marketing team. I'm also responsible for charges, regulation and charges at the airport, slot management and statistics. So it's a fairly broad scope.
Yeah. And so how is business so far going for you on the airport?
So in general, I think as Berlin Airport, we are a bit struggling with the recovery.
Yeah.
We had a very strong year in 2019. So as we are always counting against 2019, our recovery is around between 60 and 70%. So around 65% in recovery, which is probably a bit behind than Europe, and also within Germany a bit behind.
Yeah.
So I think we are getting back slowly but steadily. So we have made some very good progress with some carriers in the past year, which we are very happy about. And I would say it's a bit slower than the rest, but maybe that's also a healthy way to grow.
What have been some financial challenges for the airport and how are you looking to overcome this?
Well, obviously, as we are only at around 60 to 65% of recovery, we are missing those revenues, especially from aviation, but also if the passengers are not in the airport, they can't spend any money in the shops and on parking and so on. So we are obviously lacking some revenues on that side. We have had a serious cost-cutting program. We have had some state aid, which also makes things, let's say, in the daily operations it makes it more difficult, so to say, because we have less room for our own decisions. So we are working very hard to get back on track, to be on our own financial feet.
Could you give me an example of how you are looking to cut down on costs?
Well, first of all, we have really cut down on any infrastructural enhancements that were. So we are doing, let's say, small and also innovative infrastructural enhancements, which makes the airport more efficient, so makes processes more efficient. But we're not planning on any bigger infrastructure building topics. We have closed down one of our old terminals, which is the old terminal of Schönefeld, T5. We have closed that down to save that cost. And I think small steps, but in all parts of the business, we have been really cutting down on cost.
Okay. And so, in your experience, has there been any business and sales strategies that have worked particularly well, and how are you looking to replicate that in the future?
I think we have a very data-driven approach. So we are using a number of tools actually to look at passenger numbers from the past, to look at different routes and discuss those with the airlines. Obviously, airlines have the same or similar type of data, but I think we're always getting into a very good discussion. And I think main strategy of Berlin is, in fact, Berlin is a very destination-driven airport. So people fly to Berlin, they don't fly to BER just to fly to BER.
Yeah.
So I think, and that is coming back. It obviously during COVID, it was a bit difficult. City trips were not that popular in those times. We didn't have any big trade fairs or big conferences. Those things are coming back. A lot of business is coming back. Berlin is growing. We're approaching 4 million inhabitants. A lot of people coming in from the outside. It's still the startup capital of Germany and one of the most important startup cities in Europe.
Yeah.
So I think that is our strategy to partner up with the city marketing as well.
Okay.
And together with a data-driven approach, I think there's a lot of things where we can convince airlines to fly to Berlin.
Yeah. You often host job fairs in the community, so why do you think it is important to have that rapport with the community?
I think that topic is a topic of every airport in Europe, and probably not worldwide, but in many parts of the world, is that we have a shortage of staff in security, in ground handling, like the working level, which makes an airport run. You have to have those people, and this is especially why we did a big job fair actually last weekend, where people had the opportunity to come to the airport, already bring their papers and bring their documents and apply for jobs with the ground handlers, with the airport, with the security, agencies. So it's vital at the moment that we get those people on board. We're approaching summer. You need time to onboard people just for security checks and all that. So it's time to get those people on board. I think we are in Berlin actually doing quite well for the moment. So we're looking positively into summer that we will have the staff on board to be able to let's say, realize the summer in an effective way.
Yeah. Are there any interesting market trends, market areas you're looking to invest in?
Oh, everything. We take every passenger is good for us. So it doesn't matter where he comes from or she comes from.
Yeah.
No, I think for us, especially, it's important to recover our continental European network. We used to have a vast network within Europe. We're trying to recover that because that's just the pure volume that we need at the airport. But of course, we are also looking at long haul. Last year, we were able to secure 2 new routes, which will start now end of May towards US. So we will start Washington with United and JFK with Delta. So now we're also focusing a lot on Asia, traveling a lot within Asia and trying to acquire long haul directly to Berlin. And for us, that as not being a hub airport but a secondary airport, that is very, very challenging but a fun thing to do.